was a typo, and I'm like, welcome to Comics League Movie Night. I am Jared. I'm here with Robert. What's up?
Yo!
And today we are talking about Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, one of the most controversial DC movies ever to be released, in my opinion.
Definitely. Or at least since Man of Steel. Joke.
Well, here's the thing. Then The Flash came out.
So, Flash wasn't called controversial. Flash was just called bad.
Well, it also had its fair share of controversy. But yeah, so we're talking about Batman vs. Superman. So at this point, Man of Steel came out, and then this is when so Warner Brothers had told Zack, okay, this is successful. Can you turn this into a cinematic universe like Marvel? Oh boy, will the like Marvel part come back to bite people in the ass later?
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, and what's up, Parker and Cameron? So with BVS, this was intended because WB would not let Zack do solo movies beforehand to establish the Justice League because they wanted it now.
They wanted to catch up.
Now. Yeah, go ahead.
They said they wanted to play catch up.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, that would come back to bite them in the ass in terms of critics. Now, to be clear, I love this movie very much, but it's like we're going to be going over some of the criticism and determining if it's like warranted or if it's just a little bit like, come on, guys, just stop. Because there was some criticism of this movie where I'm like, did you watch it? The answer is give me no, but that's the majority of comic book media, right, Robert?
Right. Now, we are talking about the ultimate version. I could say, now tell me, Jared, did you watch the original version in theaters?
Yes, I did.
So did I, and I'll say this, it was one of the first movies that I just felt like, ugh. Not for it being bad, but it felt like there's a lot chopped out of this movie, and I can painfully see it. And I never had that experience before.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like, so I saw it, and I'm one of those people that doesn't hate the theatrical cut, but when I saw the ultimate cut, I'm like, the hell happened?
Oh, yeah, 30 minutes. It reminded me of Daredevil.
Yeah, exactly, because it's like, when you look at what was cut out, it's the explanation of the wheelchair being lined with lead. That's why Superman did not see the bomb. And I go, that's more realistic as to why he didn't.
Now, to be fair, I could see why. While there were people complaining about it, I personally saw the reason why they cut it out initially was because, like, well, I think that should go without saying, but it's like, no, we need to spell it out.
You cannot take all this stuff as obvious stuff, as we have seen. But and what's up, NJ? But it's like, so with this movie, so they cut that out. They cut some of the more expository dialogue that like expands a little bit on the scenes. Some scenes were like stretched. Some action scenes were like cut down. So needless to say, whenever I watch Batman versus Superman, I just watch the ultimate cut. There's no question. But Cameron brings up a good point. He says, I used to think...
Sorry, Sorry, phone call. Sorry.
Yeah. Cameron says, I used to think 30 minutes didn't change anything. I have never been so glad to be wrong. Oh, my God, yes.
That was the exact same thing with Daredevil. In fact, just to bring up about Daredevil, for example, for a second, the director even said the original movie, director's cut, felt like Daredevil, where, a tortured soul. Yeah. Whereas the theatrical cut felt like you killed my girlfriend. I want revenge. Ugh.
Yeah, exactly. So this movie starts off, and this is one of the things I love about Zack's DC movies. They all start immediately during the ending of the previous movie, except to flip it, this one takes place during the Zod fight, but from the perspective of a regular person from like Bruce Wayne. So we're seeing these like titanic gods battle in the city from the perspective of like a person on the street.
Yeah. Now I want to get one thing out of the way. Batman's reasonings for hating Superman because of that, I am completely in favor of. It makes sense. It's well executed. That I will, if I have any complaints, that is not one of them.
Yeah, because when you look at the context around which, and it's like, particularly when you're taking into account that it's Batman we're talking about, and he doesn't know Clark, yeah, he's going to think about this.
Now, I think it should have been Lucius who should have died.
people, here's the thing. I think it's better off that they go with an unknown character because it's like, well, because like people will be like that, particularly post like Nolan Dark Knight movies. They wasted Lucius Fox.
True, but it would be a case of one, fans already affiliated with who Lucius is. Two, given what the story's supposed to go, the direction the story's supposed to go, and Lucius doesn't really ever appear in it, taking him out is no different than what they kind of do with another character.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll talk about that in a second. But so for context for this Batman has already lost Dick Grayson Robin, Dick Grayson. And it's like, again, we were supposed to get a Batman movie pre this that would have explained that. That's what Zack wanted to do, but WB would not let him do that. So I just want to be clear on that.
Yeah.
So essentially the way this works is that's the other reason why he is ridiculously brutal in this. But he's no more brutal than like any other movie Batman when you really think about it.
Now, how long, now they ever made it clear how long has it been since Dick's death?
I don't think they ever, not for that. We know that this Batman has been Batman for 20 years. I don't think they ever explain how long from like Grayson's death to this.
Because unfortunately, and this is why I think a lot of people got the implication of Dick died young, and he's been this way for years. That's the implication a lot of it gave.
I would say it's at least a year. I would say at least a year.
Then he shouldn't have been Robin.
What do you mean?
It should have been Nightwing or something. If it was because
how do you know that Batman got Robin in the beginning of his career?
Okay, that's true. But again, it just feels like some things don't feel right. That's the reason. A lot of these choices, I get why they did it for the sake of this movie, but when you're trying to think about why or like the whole grander picture, it throws more questions in.
Yeah, because he wanted to create because when you really think about the character arc, a Batman that isolates himself, gets more brutal and paranoid.
Oh, yeah.
The motivation behind it, even more than Jason Todd being the dead Robin, Grayson himself, the one that Bruce considers to be his son, that would push him that far.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that I can agree with. It's just the bigger question is also, how long was Dick Robin? That's the other thing.
True, which yeah, that is true. But then again, moving on. So yeah. So what we get next is it cuts to like the Indian Ocean where the world engine was blown up in Man of Steel. And we get the explanation for kryptonite. And I got to say, I like this explanation because if you notice, they're taking the plot point of he was weak around the world engine. And like essentially kryptonite comes from that.
In a way, it could be also looked at the incompleteness of the world engine, the terraforming.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, that's cool. So we get kryptonite and stuff. And then we cut to one of the controversial parts of it. So we cut to Africa. And and the ultimate addition is when this particular individual is identified as Jimmy Olsen. And spoiler alert, Jimmy's a CIA.
Or cover for a CIA agent.
Darkomancer says, sorry, late to stream. It's all good. When did they verify that it was Dick who died? I think it was like a year or so after the movie. I know they did verify it is Grayson, and plus it says so on a tombstone in the movie and like a side shot. So it's Grayson. So here's the thing. So spoiler alert, Jimmy Olsen gets killed when he's out as a CIA. Now, the reason why people that watch the movie have kind of pointed out to that's probably not his identity because the CIA is because also he has the code name Talon. But it's like the other point here, and I looked up why Zack like killed Jimmy Olsen, and he goes, because of the story we were going to tell with like the overall DCEU, not just this. At this point, they had the story like on the whiteboards. He goes, when I looked at the story, we were really going to go, there really was no room for Jimmy Olsen. And here's the thing. If he had just like not acknowledged Jimmy Olsen in like future Superman movies, guess what? People still would have freaked out.
Here's one other I want to make. He already had Jenny. We could have named her Jenny Olsen because she fit the role, and you could just have it be she exists. You didn't need to go any further, and you still could have told the story.
What you could do is say that like Jenny is Jimmy Olsen's sister, and
That
just
too.
go off of that.
Yeah, and you just have it be he's
That's
just
the way I think. If he did a continuation or conclusion, they could just like retcon that and say is like I'm like Jimmy's half sister or something like that to explain why she doesn't have the last name or something like that.
or something, yeah, something like that, or have it be Jimmy does still work there, but now of course he acknowledged that he was a real person.
Yeah, and Pika says still await. The CIA does not or wouldn't send their agents on covert ops and tell them to use their real names unless it's an American dead
Oh, I agree with that. I agree with
what
that.
they would do, by the way, is I've heard from actual CIA people that they use their first names, not their last names, their first names, because in the event that they're like meeting with someone, then like Robert, if you saw me and I told the person I was meeting that my name is like Jim, and then you go, "Hey, Jared," that's gonna blow my cover.
Exactly. That's but and I say this though, but then that wouldn't say that Jimmy never existed. Period.
No, you could just say that like Jimmy Olsen was on assignment or something like that somewhere else, and they just assumed his identity because they figured no one's gonna be looking for him right now.
True, but regardless.
My point is, Robert, there's any number of ways they could retcon this.
Oh yeah, retcon it if that was on the cards, which it looks like.
I think they would have. See, here's the thing: if he gets to come back and do stuff, I'm fairly certain he would, because even Zach knows how controversial that was, and he's like, "Okay."
Oh yeah, doing it after the fact, yes, completely agree. Doing it after the fact, yes.
So the other thing, and this is one of the few Lois Lane lines I like, and I'm going to be complimenting Lois Lane. I like it because this is based on an actual journalist. So she's meeting with a warlord, and the warlord said they didn't tell me I was meeting with a woman, and then Lois Lane goes, "I'm not a lady, I'm a journalist."
Yep.
It's basically just talk to me like a journalist.
Oh yeah, and that was one of those times I would give Amy Adams props for the fieriness of it there.
Because that's also a line that Lois would say. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, yes, agreed. She would be the whole be like, "Oh, good thing I'm just a journalist."
Yeah. So then we get the dope scene with KG Beast. Yes, it's KG Beast. And like the Lex Luthor contractors, they start a shootout at that compound. Later revealed to frame Superman. And then I like where the CIA just decides to like shoot a Predator missile at the compound. Then Superman just flies through the missile and the drone and then lands. And then some people have said, "Oh, he kills the warlord." Yeah, but does he though? Does he though? I don't think he really does. I'm just saying. I think it's more like the fact that like he charged at the guy to get him away from Lois, and then just because he went through the multiple walls, people are like, "Oh, he like threw that guy through walls." Did you actually look at it though? You could make the argument he turns around and like blocks it. He's just getting him away. But
sorry about that. If I'm quiet, give me a moment.
Yeah, it's all good. But so let's look at some chats. It's like, oh yeah, KG Beast was in this. One of Zach planned on making him a big threat like Slade. I don't think so, considering the fact that he dies. Superman carried a Mage under his body and broke the walls. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, that's kind of what that's the way. Oh, and Pikachu says, yeah, I know, I've checked. Okay, so that's what I figured happened. So it's like, no, he didn't kill that guy. But it's like, yeah, he smashed a human being into a wall. No. Again, MJ. So what he did is, okay. So let's use. Okay, so essentially, yes, he got the guy away from Lois, and then he rotated and took the wall blast for the guy. He didn't do it. So continuing on, then you get to the part where then Lois escapes. Then you get to Gotham. Oh yeah, I love this scene. So two cops roll up on these human traffickers, and I love the way this is set up. You just see like the battering against the wall. You see the hostages are like frightened. Then they walk in and see the dude that's like on the ground whimpering. the camera pans and all you see is Affleck hanging on there like a bat. And I go, that's a Batman thing right there. That is such a Batman thing. And
Agreed.
Bruce escapes. And then we discovered that Affleck had been branding people with like a bat brand. And I go, okay, for a more brutal Batman, because it is established in the comics in Death in the Family that after Jason is killed, Batman stops holding back and gets very brutal. That's partly why Tim Drake pushes so much to be Robin, because he's like, Batman needs a Robin.
Well, yeah, I agree with that completely. That's exactly how it was.
Yeah, so that's why again the killing part doesn't bother me. So then we get to essentially we cut to Capitol Hill, and a lot like in the Gun Superman, Superman's under scrutiny for intervening, and he goes, he basically goes, what was I supposed to do? They were going to kill you. Was I just supposed to let you stay there and die? And the people are like, oh, and also it's in dialogue confirmed that he didn't kill any of the mercenaries, because he goes, I didn't kill those men. So it's like, interesting how that actually, how like Zack actually addressed that in the movie. And so then you get like, Bruce at the Batcave. And one of the cool things about the Batcave that they did with this is because they wanted to have that Bat motif. So the production designer really emphasized that by having everything be suspended from the ceiling. So it's like hanging from the ceiling and stuff. And then I like where we get the Dark Knight Returns line where Alfred confronts Bruce on the branding. And he goes, we're criminals, Alfred. We've always been criminals. Nothing has changed. And I love where Alfred goes, oh no, everything's changed. The gods fall men fall from the sky. Mm-hmm. The gods hurl thunderbolts. And if you notice, this is going to be really important details for later, because Batman is specifically watching Superman's fighting style, which comes into play when they actually have the battle, which I really dig how that works. And this is where it's kind of setting up. And here's the thing, though. Here's the interesting thing about this when people bring up Batman being brutal. Alfred routinely reminds Bruce, this has gone a little too far, Bruce. So it's like, it's not like no one challenges Batman. It'd be one thing if he's like branding people and killing people and no one calls him out on it.
Right, which there was also, there was also, if I remember right, because I didn't rewatch it, wasn't there a bit where Gordon is in this movie and calls him out? No,
he's not.
I'm saying
he's not.
Okay, sorry, my mistake.
No, it's good. It's okay. He's only in Justice League. But
all right.
My point is, people call Batman out on this throughout the movie. So I'm like, that's why it's like, yeah, if he was just willy-nilly gunning people down and no one called him out on that, that would be one thing. But no, everyone's telling him, you gone too far, Bruce.
Now, I would say, though, the whole Mark Millar's statement of course, we're criminals. We've always been criminals. I get the statement, but then even Miller himself took it different directions that don't work.
Yeah, but Pika brings up the point of the line.
Yeah,
he's a vigilante. He's breaking the law already. That
I agree. That I agree with. It's just that some cases of the other people have taken it other directions. Like they are. Yeah, yes, they need to break the law, but how far do they go? And that's where I think Frank would have it be all the way, when it's like, no, they shouldn't go all the way.
Yeah, exactly. And then essentially what we get next is we return to the Daily Planet, and so Robert, let me ask you this. Would you say that this version of Perry was way more of the Perry White that you wanted?
Well, within reason, yes. Within reason, to some version of Perry, yes. Much better than...
Breaking news. Water. Wet.
Yeah. But,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Did I get through, or did I get garbly?
Your back bit's a little low.
Oh, do I sound better, or...
No, you sound fine. It's just your volume is low.
Just a moment. I'm just pulling back into my house. So
Yeah, all right, it's all good. But essentially, what we get next is okay. So Superman is like at the Daily Planet, and he's kind of arguing with Perry about covering the Batman, and he goes, "Oh, so so you're telling me that like this bat creature is like attacking people and like
hello? Okay, do I sound better?
yeah, much better."
Okay,
So,
like as I was saying,
mhm.
yes, this was a bit closer to some versions of Perry, not all, but some. Better than generic journalist man of the last movie, especially
Yeah,
the whole. I will say the whole. Oh, is that like and water is wet? Like, it's just like he's basically saying like, if a Batman's been around for this long, yeah, Perry would definitely be like, what else is new?
yeah, exactly. And then what you get is so Lois is looking because in Lois's journal from the event there was a bullet that was embedded and that's made of some weird like alloy. And again, I love Perry. He goes, "It's a bullet. You shoot people with them." I love that. That's so good.
Oh, yeah, the sarcasm felt a bit closer to, again, some versions of Perry. Again,
Yeah,
this was definitely much closer, much more accurate.
yeah, exactly. And then essentially, Bruce learns that there's like that there's like a ship that's coming in through Gotham that's going to like have like what he thinks is a dirty bomb. We later find out what it actually is.
Right.
So the Congress people go meet Lex Luthor, and we meet the Mark Zuckerberg version of Lex Luthor,
Mm-hmm.
which I know some people didn't like it, but. So going back, so continuing on with the version though, it is pretty much Lex where he goes, "Look, if we don't have to use a silver bullet, but if we forge one, we don't have to be dependent on like the kindness of monsters."
I would say some of the dialogue did feel close to Lex. I will say that a lot of the dialogue did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll get into more arguments as we go on.
Yeah, exactly. But so Lex essentially gets access to like Zod's body, the world, the scout ship and such. But we'll get into that. And then so Bruce is like invited to like the Metropolis Library Gala, and so is Clark. But I love where Alfred goes. A woman in Metropolis might make you honest. I love Jeremy Adams as Alfred.
Irons, but
Irons. If Jeremy Adams, yeah.
that's why I was correcting you.
I must say, I think Irons is the best Alfred.
Oh, hands down, this is a snarky Alfred who I prefer. Michael Caine is more traditional Alfred, but this is the snarky, again, the Alfred you would get towards the end of his tenure.
I love where like at the later in the movie, Batman goes, "I don't deserve you, Alfred," and Alfred goes, "No, sir, you don't."
Yep, it basically this is the Alfred who, to quote DKR, would say a bleeding hospital bed, walking hospital bed.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
that's definitely what this Alfred would say.
Yeah, exactly. So then you get to he goes to the gala, and I love. Yeah, go ahead.
Cameron asked a good question, and I do think that's one of the things I will feel like you can make the argument this isn't Lex at all.
Oh yeah, you could like because Lex talks about his father being much more like brutal and stuff.
But that also applies though to Lionel. That's the problem.
It could be. Now I wouldn't be surprised if they could have like the way I would salvage this. I would essentially retcon it that like that Alfred was like.
Or you mean Lex Luthor, right?
Lex, sorry, was like sickly, so he transfers consciousness into a clone body, thus doing the clone son.
Perhaps, but then and then he talked about Lionel.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like. Who cares?
But yeah, that's one of the things I will give as a but that could also be saying, so in other words, this isn't Lex. This is Alexander from Infinite Crisis.
however you want to do it. The point is that there
Yeah.
are ways to for this to work. But anyway,
Right.
so the other thing that like people got like that people were like upset by is that Clark did not automatically know who Bruce Wayne was. But I go, he's not in Metropolis.
No, he wouldn't.
He wouldn't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, he wouldn't know. Or, yeah, because this is Clark at the beginning, and he might know of his reputation, but that's as far as it'll go.
He would know who Bruce Wayne is, who the name is. I don't think he would know the face.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Well, no, to be fair, a good journalist would look up photos of a man so he could know what to look for, but that's not a guarantee.
And here's the thing. Chances are Clark was never on a beat that would require him to cover Bruce Wayne.
That's
so
true.
why would he look him up?
Well, that's true. I will give you. I acknowledge that. And if nothing else, he probably would have left it to Lois to handle the. You're gonna go talk with him.
Yeah, exactly. So they're in the Metropolis Library, and I love how this is framed because Lex is talking about Prometheus and the gods giving fire, and over there is a certain ancient warrior woman standing there. I love the way Gal does Wonder Woman because as Lex is talking about Greek mythology and probably getting details wrong, she's like so annoyed.
I do love it. And even if he's not getting wrong, it's more of a case of he's getting it wrong in that. Oh, is that what people think?
Yeah, I just love that. That's the thing. When people talk about Gal Gadot as a bad actress, I'm like, no, it's just depending on who the director is. Because if you look at scenes like this or Wonder Woman, she actually acts pretty well.
Oh yeah, agreed. Very much agreed.
Yeah, and it's like I like how so at first with this they make you think like she's more of the Catwoman character. And I think that's what she thought she was auditioning for.
Yeah.
But which I'm like, fun fact, she almost played Feora in Man of Steel.
Oh really?
Yeah, she turned actually she was offered the role. She turned the role down, and now went to her. Which I'm like, I'm glad because we got her as Wonder Woman.
And the other actress, I think, did a spectacular job.
Oh yeah, she did a great job. But I mean, Pika brings up my one problem, the problem that I have with this movie. They shouldn't have revealed that Gal Gadot is playing Wonder Woman because if you build it up. As soon as they say Miss Prince, it would be like, wait.
Yeah, it's the Terminator Genesis problem.
Yeah, and I get why they wanted to like say, oh, Wonder Woman's in this movie. But if they didn't tell you the whole buildup would have been like, oh my God.
Exactly. That's the problem with Hollywood. They sometimes are now afraid of surprises.
And this would have been a surprise. People would have been like, no, you need to see this movie now.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. There's a reason why you have. I mean, nowadays you're more likely to have a TV show keep a surprise than you are a movie.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, and so the idea is that Batman's there to like hack into Lex Luthor's drive. So he leaves his little USB drive there, and then Diana steals it and drives off in a great car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
how could she afford that on a archaeologist salary?
Yeah, but she's existed for thousands of years.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I know. It's all good.
It is great. It's just also it's one of those. It's the refrigerator question. To quote Alfred Hitchcock, and of course he already says, "Don't ask me refrigerator questions."
Yeah. So then I want to skip for a moment to the next time we see like Diana because I love where she has that conversation with Bruce and she goes, "Is it stealing to steal from another thief?" And I go, "Oh my gosh, I love it." And then we get the line that 100% sealed me on Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman. When Batman says, "I've known a few women like you," she just turns, smiles like, "No, you haven't." She goes, "I don't think you've ever known a woman."
Yep, I have. Since I heard that in the trailer, I knew it.
I'm like, because that is something, that's the snarkiness that Diana would say 100%.
Definitely.
because that's the part that like the best versions of Diana have gone into is that snarkiness, and I go the smile
Again,
too.
it's like it's this comfort constant. Oh, you sweet summer child.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. That's what it is. And I go, I'm like, yes, that is what.
But only the people where she knows it's like, you're like, is that what you think?
Yeah, exactly. I wish more comic book people would write her that way and not make it like cringy. Yeah, exactly.
No, thank you.
Why did you have to say that?
You set me.
All right, you know what? Very appropriate to play this clip.
Why did you say that name?
Anyway, but so and then we get the other part about the movie that I really like, and this is the advantage of having the Kents alive or a Kent alive is so this whole movie people are like doubting Superman, or like in the news media is like portraying him as a possible threat. He just goes to like Martha Kent, he calls her and goes he essentially is asking her, why should I like keep doing this, because everyone is like threatened by me and it doesn't seem like I'm doing good.
It's like, the typical this is akin to they all wanted a piece of me from Byrne.
Yeah, exactly. And then so Martha basically tells be what they need or don't be or be none of it. Just stop trying to be essentially the way I kind of caught that is like she's saying again, just save them. It doesn't matter. Just be their savior. They'll eventually come around.
Yeah, that again, that felt much closer to the comic. When I first saw it in the trailer, it made me cringe.
Yeah, but it's like when you actually see it in context, yeah. And then I like Engine, and I like where in the movie where Zack has the most creative control. Oh, well, I'm gonna tease this later. He has a scene that in my mind redeems John Kent.
Oh, definitely, I agree with that as well because that was him basically being like, "Yeah, Goyer, did you know John Kent?"
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a sec. So essentially, Superman is invited to the Capitol. Mainly challenged by the dude that was supposed to be Metallo.
Yep.
Yeah, and essentially he shows up and wants to give his side of the story. And of course, Lex is being like Lex, and so he puts Mercy Graves in there with the bomb in the wheelchair.
Him blowing up Mercy.
Yeah, the bomb goes off, and and this is the other thing. This is a scene I don't think they should have cut. They cut a scene of Superman saving people from the Capitol bomb because it looks like he's just standing there.
Yep, agreed. That's where a lot of people focus on is that because it just.
Yeah, but I'm like, there's literally a scene where he said. So, Robert, here's a funny thing. I was on last year. We're like either last year or the year before. I was on Tristan's channel.
Yep.
And she was critiquing Batman vs Superman. And I go, well, it's because of this, and this. And then she goes. She goes, but Jared, that's supposed to be in the movie, and that should be in the movie. And I go, it was in the movie. And I said, what version of it did you see? And then she goes, there's two versions.
Yep.
And I'm like, watch the extended cut. It's granted, it probably won't fix all of your criticisms, but it fixes.
Oh, I agree. Hey, same with me. It fixed a lot of my problems, but it was still a case where again, it didn't win me over. It's like I want this to be the universe.
And that's fair. That's fair. So then at that point, what you get is
we should mention about Lex's machination with this guy, and it kind of makes me wonder how did Bruce fall for it?
Well, it's because you know what I think it is because Bruce already had this single point focus on Superman, as you saw in like the Batcave building the suit because of the Metropolis fight. So when you're so hyper focused on hating something, you miss the details.
True, and here's the other: how did Lex know that?
Because if we're talking about Lex that like had files on all the superhumans, he would probably like know who Batman is, know who Bruce Wayne is, or be able to put it together and then like say, Okay, so he would like have like some type of knowledge of.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, that's fair enough. It's just a lot of assumptions going in. That's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Lex is smart enough to figure that out. So I'm like,
If it did tell us that Lex was nowhere near as much of an ego as others.
yeah, but so essentially you get this again. Great scene with Lois. Robert, you have no idea how crazy that must sound coming from me. That's Superman and Lois, where Superman is like again having this thing. Superman thinks that he doesn't know about the lead line wheelchair. He just thinks I didn't see the bomb, and he goes, "Well, I was just distracted by like the people's opinions of me." And then he basically says Superman was never real. It meant something on my planet, but my planet's gone now. And
right. So he's doubting himself.
He would feel that.
Yeah, and he's doubting himself again.
Which Superman has doubted himself in the comics before. So anyone telling you otherwise, again, doesn't read the comics. It may not happen that often, but it happens.
Because this Lex is the intellect without the ego, though, to block him from the obvious.
Yeah, exactly. And it's understand. And then Gunn, again, that's why I say Gunn had my favorite version of Lex. I still like this Lex, but in terms of like the comic booky Lex, I like this one. I enjoyed the Gunn version.
It goes to my argument of this Lex was tailor-made for the story to play out the way it did. You needed a Lex who didn't have the ego to blind himself for it. Otherwise, the movie wouldn't have gone forward.
Now, granted, I would have liked to have seen where this Lex goes on, because if you see like ZSJL, he's pretty much that Lex.
Oh yeah, and I am not saying that this Pika's whole the story moves the character, move the character instead of the character move the story. I'm not saying that. This is just a case of, like I said, they tailor-made Lex for the story.
Yeah, exactly. So then you get to so that we get to that scene with John Kent. It's just more of like Clark essentially having like so he goes to like this mountaintop and sees a vision of John Kent, and then John basically had this conversation with like he tells the story about where there was a storm in Kansas. He and his father dug a trench and like saved their horses, but damned the Lang's horses and washed the farm away. So he didn't feel like a hero.
Oh, I love that. I love that analogy. That is such a podcast analogy. Again, that's what won me over there. I'm like, why didn't we get this part in the Flash movie?
Yeah. You mean in Man of Steel, not the Flash movie?
No, I just said the last. I said last.
Oh, okay, last. Okay, yeah. And he basically said, and then Superman says, "Did the screams ever stop?" And then John Kent, when I met your mother, and it's like, and she became my world. This builds off of in Man of Steel when Clark says the world's too big, Mom, and then Martha Kent says, "Then make it smaller. Focus on protecting one thing. The rest."
Exactly, which keeps the consistency with what she was saying earlier.
Yeah, and that's what I love about Zack's movies. He'll bring up a line, and then it'll work on its own in that context, but then he'll also reference it later, even in a later movie. So when you actually look at it, it's like, okay, I see what he's going for.
Yep. Also, NJ and Cameron were asking about with Mercy. It's like not all version. Like, look at Superman Doomsday. Shot her because she was a loose end.
Yeah. Some of them he does, so some of them not.
It's more of a recent thing for him to actually care about her. Beforehand, it was just like, you're good. Like, you're still here because you're the best I have, and you're damn good.
Yeah, exactly.
The moment you're no longer used to me, bang.
Exactly. So then we get Bruce plugging in the drive into his computer. And then as it decrypts, he has the nightmare vision, which is essentially like Darkseid invades, takes over, mind controls Superman because Lois died. And then we get the scene of which would be paid off in Justice League 3 of the Flash saying, "Protect Lois."
Right. Which
what that is.
That's one element that was clearly taken from Injustice. The protect Lois part.
Yeah. Except here's the thing with Injustice. They see. Now here's the thing. Here's why this did it better than Injustice.
Well, yeah,
because he fell under the anti-life equation. There's a way out of it. It's like Hal Jordan being influenced by Parallax.
Oh no, and I agree. But I'm saying no. But you can make the argument. This and Injustice is what gave some people the misconception. Lois died. He just goes evil.
Yeah, except they figure out the context. The other thing.
Without the context.
The other thing people are upset about is Batman using a gun, and I'm like, look at the world this Batman's in, bro.
Not only that, but Batman had guns on the first Batmobile.
Yeah, and every Batmobile, he has cannons, he has miniguns on the...
Now, he doesn't pretend to use them on people, yes.
But in this context, where it's a post-apocalyptic world, literally called the Nightmare Future...
Oh yeah, by that point, everything would be thrown out the window. Everything would be just completely tossed out.
Yeah. So then you get to the driver is decrypted, and he has like all of the essentially like security camera footage of all the metahumans. Then we see Wonder Woman, and then we see that like Wonder Woman's ancient. This would start the Wonder Woman being ancient trope. And again, this is the other thing I don't like, is that it started that trope of Diana being an ancient warrior.
Yep. Well, to be fair, again, the pre-crisis, it was always up in the air.
Yeah, but this kind of solidified it, and at least this is the one part where I'm like, I feel like Gunn's gonna go with the. I honestly, I feel like Gunn's gonna go the direction of her mom was World War II Wonder Woman.
Oh, I think so too. I think so. I think they've been talking.
Yeah, I guarantee you. Hey, what's up, Hal Jordan? So continuing on, then you get. I have the notes pulled up. So then we get what is one of the coolest parts of the damn movie, the Batmobile chase. Which this is something at least mostly could be in the Lego game, because we know the Batmobile is at least in this.
Yep.
And we get to. So Robert, what do you think of the Snyderverse Batmobile?
I think it's a nice middle ground between the Bat Tank and the traditional Batmobile.
Yeah, because for this version, by the way, the production designer made the first sketch of the Batmobile on a napkin at Starbucks. Because they wanted to make this one more of essentially a race car instead of like a tank or something like that.
Yeah. But as I say, this is the middle ground between it.
Yeah, and this one seems like a lot more like the comic Batmobile. So I'm like, as opposed to like the Tumbler.
Yeah, exactly. But like I said, but you can definitely see some Tumbler elements.
Yeah, definitely some elements on that, which I dig, and I love this whole fight. And there's this great scene where it's like they think that like they lost. Please tell me I have this. Yes, they do. So they think that KGB thinks he escaped from like the Batmobile, and this happened. There's so much great stuff in this. And then you see Superman. He tries to ram Superman, and Superman just stands there as the Batmobile just bounces off him.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the first confrontation between the two. And then I love where Superman goes, next time they shine your light in the sky, don't go to it. The bat is
there have been versions of Superman being that firm with Batman. Heck, the DC animated universe, he was that firm.
Yeah, he was like, "Stop! You're a problem." And I love Batman's response: "Do you bleed? You will." And he just
and he's saying it. He knows Superman's going to hear it.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. And then we get the other scene that was freaking cut from this cut, which is so great, is the scene where Lex shows up at LexCorp and sees that Batman has stolen the kryptonite. And I love that the security camera footage where it's like an Arkham game where like that one guy staying in the hallway, Batman drops down, grabs him, and goes back up.
Yeah, but
that's the thing. It's like Snyder got the closest so far to how Arkham Batman is.
Which definitely matched up with his sensibilities.
Yeah, and what I like about Batfleck's fighting is he's more fluid, because to me, Bale seemed a little stiff.
Oh, remember, he was stiff until the second movie when they upgraded his suit.
No, but even then, the fight scenes were kind of like meh. The fight scenes in the Dark Knight trilogy were not that good. The ones
That's
this
fair.
one,
They were going more grounded.
which, yeah, and I'm like, I get it, but it's like, when you compare that to the warehouse fight in this, I'm like, sorry,
Oh,
that's a Batman
yeah.
fight scene right. That is a Batman fight scene right there.
Agreed.
Yeah, and essentially, so what we get next, he steals the kryptonite and starts making his kryptonite spear. So he's preparing for a confrontation. But also, wait, I missed a scene here. We need to go back on this. So
right.
Alfred, Batman essentially, before he steals the kryptonite, Alfred confronts him on. He goes, and I love this line. He goes, Master Wayne, ever since you were a little boy, you've been to deception as Mozart is to the harpsichord, but you've never been able to lie to me.
Yep.
Again, Jeremy Adams, God damn it, Jeremy Irons is the best Alfred we've ever had. And I love where he goes, the white Portuguese isn't carrying a dirty bomb. What is it? And he goes, he essentially says it's kryptonite, and we're going to steal it. And then Jeremy Adams goes, I keep saying this. Alfred says,
why do you keep saying that?
The names are Jeremy. And then, and then Alfred says, so you're going to destroy it. And then he goes, oh, so you're going to go to war. And then Batman goes, he brought the war to us 2 years ago. Count the dead, thousands. He has the power to destroy the entire human race. And if there's even a 1% chance.
Yep, that line.
Now, here's the thing. That's an actual, like, concept. It's
yes.
1%. It's if the threat is that, if you're dealing with a threat so big, the 1% that this could turn evil has to be taken as a certainty.
Because it's too, you can't gamble it. I get it.
Is way too, and Bruce has a very good point.
He does, but he's then going about it the wrong way.
And people still call him out on that again. And I love this line where Alfred says, but he is not our enemy. And then Bruce goes, not yet. 20 years in Gotham, Alfred, how many good guys are left? And how many stayed that way?
Oh.
I just love that. That is so good.
Yep.
And then we get a Batman basically doing CrossFit and preparing for his battle. And then we get Lex kidnapping Martha Wayne. Martha Kent. I'm not.
Wait, did he go back in time? Did he go back in time?
Yeah, he invented time travel. Oh,
he could.
Here's the clip. It's so basically Lex went. Where is it?
Time travel.
There you go. I love that. And then, so he kidnapped. Actually, first he kidnaps Martha, and then KGB kidnaps Lois. And I love where he throws Lois off the building because he knows it's going to get Superman's attention. At the same time, what Lex has been doing is he took Zod's body to the Kryptonian ship, where essentially you had the Genesis chamber, and then he basically used Zod's fingerprints in order to gain access, and has it like essentially rebuilding Zod. So he was trying to like create like the anti-Superman creature, his Doomsday, if you will.
Yep. So
at the same time as that's happening, and there's like energy going crazy, Lex, you also get, by the way, as Superman is dealing with like his existential crisis, Perry's like still no Ken. It's heavily implied
that he figured it out.
That he knows who Clark
Which, to be fair, Perry has been a character that has always existed.
And you know, it's one of the best Superman Perry interactions. It was in the He Must Not Be Named.
The hug.
It's where it's a silent page. He shows the identity, and then they hug. And I go, that is so good.
Yeah, that and the booster bit where he's like, you do not know how long I've been wanting to say that.
Yeah, I love that.
That is just like, I mean, to be fair though, there was never any implication that he knew, but it's a case where you're like, who cares? It works.
Yeah, exactly. So there is that. And then, so Lois goes to Gotham because she figures that that's where Superman's going to be. So Lex essentially does the whole speech, explains this whole idea of Superman. He goes, so you see yourself above anyone else. No one came to save me when Father was beating me senseless. And he goes, if God is all powerful, he cannot be all good. He's operating under the absolute power corrupts absolutely like way of thinking,
Yeah.
which that again, that's 100% Lex.
Yep. But basically, this is a Lex who looks at Superman not as a threat to his power, but more of a why? If you didn't save me, why didn't you save me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Because obviously, this is clearly obviously a Lex that didn't know Clark Kent growing up.
Yeah, and then he basically I love the way that this is done, where as soon as he reveals that like Martha's been kidnapped, Superman just goes, "Where is she?" And then he's like, "No! If you kill me, you'll never find out where she is." And then essentially Superman's on his knees, and I love Lex. Now God bows to me.
Okay, that was again. This, as I said earlier, the fact that this is a Lex who it doesn't let his ego get in the way, and he's reaping the benefits of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then
he is reaping the benefits of not having an ego.
Then we get the other line that people like critique this movie for is when Superman goes, he has my mother. I have to go convince Batman to help me, otherwise he has to die. And then he goes, no one stays good in this world. And I go, in the context of what he just went through, of course he's gonna think that.
Yeah.
Like, what are you guys doing?
No, I understand what that was. That I understand.
These are the same people, Robert, that annoy the both of us who think Superman's always like big smiles.
Again, people who either focus on one incarnation or they're the ones who are just simply act like, oh, they don't even know it. They never even read. They just go off of the idea of Superman.
Or they'll post like some random panels, and I love where I saw this one great like YouTube video that was like how Snyder sees Superman. And it's like post-crisis Superman with red eyes, and then it's like how Gunn sees Superman, also post-crisis Superman but smiling. I'm like, you realize these are the same versions, right?
Yeah.
This isn't even a reboot.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I love where Superman shows up against Batman, and then Batman's in the suit. And I love where Diana sees like all of the teases of the Justice League. And it's like, oh yeah, I know who you are. And by the way, there's more like us. So that's kind of what that's going for. And Superman throughout the entire fight keeps telling Bruce, you need to listen to me. If I wanted you dead, I could easily kill you.
Oh, and he always could.
Yeah, he always could. He goes, no, if I wanted you to be dead, or you'd be in the sun right now if I wanted.
Oh, no, I'd heat vision you from a distance.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's like Batman is so concerned about rage. And then if you notice.
I just realized this. So did he bank on Diana getting involved, or was he just setting that out there to make a point, and it ended up being to his advantage?
What do you mean?
When he sent that to Diana. One could make the argument, oh, he did that hoping she would come help. Or he did it because, like, just to make it clear, like, yeah, there's more like us. I know who you are. Stay out of my way.
I think it's that. I think it's the second option.
Yeah, but she ended up showing up, and it's just like, oh, you know.
There's a very specific reason, though. So,
yep.
So essentially, so Batman wins, no surprise. But it's like, and people complain about how like short the fight was, but I go,
it was always short.
If you read The Dark Knight Returns, that fight is not that long.
The anime movie had to extend it.
Yeah, it's not that. As soon as I read the comic, I was like, that's it?
Yeah, even Hush was short.
Yeah, because you have to shorten it because Superman could murder him. But essentially, and if you notice, essentially Batman goes, I bet your parents said that you were important, that you had like a purpose. My parents didn't tell me anything, dying in the gutter. And he like swings him around. And I love where he goes, you're not even a god. you're not even a man. And he goes to like stab him with the kryptonite spear. And then this is the scene that will forever dog this movie, even though it makes sense. Superman says, you're letting him kill Martha. Help me save Martha. Now, on the surface, I know what this looks like, but allow me to explain what this actually is. If you notice, Batman is positioned much like Joe Chill. They even flashed to Joe Chill killing the Waynes.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, look, and Robert, hasn't Bruce most of the time blamed himself in some way for what happened to his parents?
Oh, always.
Yeah, exactly. And Cameron, he could just said mom, but that wouldn't have had the effect on Bruce that this had.
Well, exactly. But that's where people find it ridiculous, though. The fact that he did say Martha when it's like, who says that?
Well, maybe he's about to die and he's not thinking.
That is fair. That is fair. That is a fair point.
Remember, he's fighting a guy in an armored batsuit with a spear at his head.
Oh no, agree. But you also get the other side, right? It's like that's what made it more laughably cringe. It's like it was the only reason why it worked is because of the scene. The scene needed it.
Literally, Robert, when I did an edit explaining this, I literally put Obi-Wan Kenobi going, you have become the very thing you swore to destroy.
True.
Legit explain it, because that's what this is. And that's why Batman snaps out of it, because he's like, here's this god. This guy that said wasn't even a man. And all he's thinking about, you have to save this other person. And then if you notice, the way this is blocked is actually really well done. So half of Batman's like armored cowl is like knocked off, and you see the human side.
Yep. Why did you say that name?
And when Batman says, "I'm going to make you a promise, Martha's not going to die tonight," you're seeing it from the human side.
Dude, show it. Even though I haven't said it, show it.
All right.
Why did you say that name?
Come on, you kind of have to.
That's mother. Here's the thing. Bruce says, "I'm going to make you a promise. Martha's not dying tonight." So the way I kind of see this is kind of catharsis for Bruce, because he's like, I can make up in some ways for letting my parents die.
Yeah.
Notice that was one of the notes that Lex sent Bruce when he was impersonating.
You let them die.
He goes, "You let your family die."
Yeah, which I always wondered, was that supposed to be a case of Lex is saying it to him, or was he supposed to make Bruce think it was that guy who blew up?
It was supposed to be Lex was supposed to make Lex was posing as the guy
that blew up.
That blew up. Yeah.
But again, that was the other thing where you're like, why would Bruce think that? Like, shouldn't Bruce be fine? Like, wait, why is he saying that?
Yeah, but so this is where we get again. I'm gonna repeat this line: the best Batman Alfred line in this movie. "I don't deserve you, Alfred." "No, sir, you don't."
Yeah, that is, again, I love Alfred like that.
Jeremy Irons is the best.
You did it again.
Watch, if I ever interview Jeremy Adams, I'm gonna be calling him Jeremy Irons. I'll be flipping it.
Yep.
But anyway, he's the best Alfred. So, and I love where he shows up. We're like, Batman's in the Batwing, and he's like gunning down dudes in trucks, and then we get the Arkham scene, and this is like the best Batman action scene we've had ever.
Yes,
anything in the Pattinson movies actually compares to this.
Yep.
He's blocking guys attacking behind him, and I love this where he gets stabbed in the shoulder, and then he slowly walks at that guy, and the dude is like so frightened. He's like, and then he basically attacks him, and then we get the homage to Dark Knight Returns. "I'll kill her. Believe me, I'll do it."
Yep.
And then he shoots the gas tank and saves Martha Kent. And Liberty goes, "It's okay. I'm a friend of your son." I figured the cape. So Doomsday. So Superman shows up and fights shows up, and I love where Lex goes, "Okay, Gotham roast. Well done. Hello, break the bad news. I'd rather do the breaking in person."
Yeah.
I love where Superman goes, "You've lost. I don't know how to lose. You'll learn."
Yeah. Oh, that felt such a Superman Lex moment.
Particularly for like someone these two just met. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to be defeating you a lot. Don't worry, bro.
Exactly.
And then you get Doomsday's emergence. And notice Doomsday goes to punch Lex. Superman still saves Lex.
Yep. But that also tells you the hubris of Lex.
Yeah.
He did not see this through.
He thought he could control. And there have been times where Lex's hubris has bit him in the ass. So that's believable.
Agreed.
So essentially, Doomsday emerges, fights Superman. And like, he has this thing where, like, if he shot a bunch of times, he unleashes like this EMP wave. And that happens. And then a certain individual is walking off a plane. Excuse me, Miss Prince.
Yeah.
They had not told us who was in this movie. That would have been the moment where everyone blew up in the theater.
Agreed.
So Batman, so essentially Superman takes Doomsday into space so the military can nuke him. And he essentially turns and takes the nuke with Doomsday.
Yep.
And I really love that. That's really good. And if you notice, why didn't Martian Manhunter intervene? Well, he was trying to get the military to not like nuke the actual city.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Jean does a lot in these movies. When you know he's Martian Manhunter and you know that like he was like trying to like calm people down, that's also John, if you will. So what you get is, oh, by the way, Pika says BTS footage also reveals a cut line where Lex believes that the Doomsday clone obeys only his orders. Yeah.
Typical Lex.
Yeah. So Doomsday crashes, and then Batman, of course, is like, okay, I got to do something. The kryptonite spear, and I got 1 round of kryptonite gas. Okay, I'm gonna go there. I'll lure it to Gotham, and you lose it to like an abandoned port. I love how they actually said the port's abandoned. Don't worry about collateral damage, people on the internet. And I love one of my favorite shots of Superman. He's charging up. It's in space. You know what I'm saying? His eyes open and it's like all red. And I go, oh, that's
yep.
And then Bruce is shot down. Doomsday shows up, is about to laser him. And then Wonder Woman shows up. And
that music.
The best Wonder Woman theme ever. And I love, and this is where they introduced the whole thing about how she clangs her braces together. It like causes a blast. And then I love where like he goes, so Superman lands, did you find the spear? And then Batman goes, I've been a little busy. I love that. And then I love where Superman goes, this thing is from another world. My world, of course, Diana. I've killed things from other worlds before. And then Batman and like look at each other like, is she with you? I thought she was with you. I know that's probably a reference to Super Wonder v Wonder Bat. So I'm like, okay, I like that.
Yep.
Then we get the shot of the Trinity, and in the behind the scenes book, Deborah Snyder said, okay, we have the 3 of them in there. We can't not do a shot of the 3 of them together.
Agreed.
Like, you can't not do that. And I love so Doomsday has this blast, and then Wonder Woman just charges in screaming like a freaking warrior. And I'm like, yeah, that's Wonder Woman right there. I'm digging that. I am so digging that. And then I like where, Lois is buried under rubble. So Superman goes and saves her during the fight after having a cool like heat vision clash scene. And then you see like Wonder Woman gets knocked back, and
that smile.
That was Gal Gadot, and that wasn't in the script. That was Gal, because she goes, well, I figured because she's like a warrior and stuff, she'd be like feisty and stuff. And I go, that's Diana. She's getting a challenging fight.
It's like finally, after all this, after how long since I fought a troll?
It's like it reminded me a lot in like
it was very Thor-like.
Yeah, it reminds me there was this great scene in Amazo Virus where Diana shows up and she's fighting Amazo and she goes, well, you're a big one, aren't you?
Yep.
Or like where she's fighting Darkseid. Come on, monster. I'm getting bored.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. And she chops off Doomsday's arm and he has this fight. And then we get the conclusion where Superman goes, you are my world. And he just takes off because in that moment, he's not protecting Earth. He's protecting Lois by killing Doomsday.
Yep.
And then they die like together, if you will. In many ways, I like the way they did this a little more because it would be harder to like go, okay, so they just punch each other to death. No, Doomsday stabs him.
They stab each other.
Yeah, that works really well. And then we get the Superman dies. And then we get like, I like the way this is done. All the streets of Metropolis are empty for the Superman funeral.
Yep.
And then it's heavily implied. And then I love we see Lex in prison and Batman sees him and he goes, yeah, so there are prisons that will treat you with compassion stuff, but that's not where you're going. I've arranged to have you sent to Arkham. I got some friends there. They're waiting to meet.
They're going to love you.
I love that. That is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently WB wanted Batman to brand Lex. And then Zack's like, but his character, that's not his character development.
Yep. So basically they saw it as, oh, this is the coolness of it. They were focused on the cool factor.
Yeah. And then Zack's like, no. And then, so I like where Bruce and Diana talk. And then this is the Bruce's arc. He goes, I failed him in life. I'm not going to fail him in death. Help me find the others like you. And then he has that whole speech about how, remember, this is a Batman that previous in this movie was like, if there's a 1% chance he's going to be a threat, we're going to kill him. He goes, no, men are still good. We fight, we kill, we betray one another, but we can be better. We have to. It's also implied that Bruce paid for the funeral. So
most definitely. There's no way Martha would have been able to.
Yeah, and no, they even addressed that. We're like, they're walking away, and Martha goes, "I need to get my checkbook." And then Pete Ross is like, "Well, no, it's been paid for by an anonymous benefactor."
Mm-hmm.
And I go, there you go. And then we get so previous to this in the extended cut and the ultimate cut, this is where we get the Steppenwolf tease that will be later paid off in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Right.
So there's that, and then the movie ends, and overall, the extended cut, I'm gonna give it a solid like 9 out of 10.
I give it a high 7.
Okay, I'll give you that. That's fine.
That's what I give it. Again, it is an improvement of the theatrical, which I gave a 6.
Yeah, I would say that's kind of particularly they treat Superman like an idiot.
Exactly. Again, it very much reminded me of the Daredevil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, overall, I was like, and again, because I was very hesitant on Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman because I was like, the Fast and the she was a side character in Fast and the Furious. As soon as I see her actually play Diana, well, we were all like Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah.
I was sold the minute they showed that teaser and I heard the voice change and stuff, and I go, "Yep, that's Batman."
By the way, Pika, I get where you're going with that. That was never confirmed.
There was like it's like at least a couple of months, I think.
Yeah,
and you don't know how long Batman versus Superman takes place over the time period, because remember the bathtub scene was in the beginning of the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's like and they don't really have to like clarify that. And then NJ says this team up was way better than anything in Justice against Steppenwolf. This felt like more of a team effort. It also didn't in the Snyder cut, and we'll talk about that next week when we talk about the Snyder cut. But yeah, overall, and the critical reception to this movie, not even the monetary one, the critical reception is why WB screwed with Justice League.
Yep.
And I go, but you, and by the way, if you take its trending thing, it would have made $1 billion had they left it in theaters short, because they took it out of theaters early.
True.
That's the thing. So it's like they wanted $1 billion. You would have gotten it.
True.
What are you guys doing? But it's like, is this an issue about WB? Overall, I love this movie. It's one of my favorites. My favorite movie is next week when we talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Right.
But so I think that's a good place to leave it. So in terms of Comics League at 9:00, Britt and I will be going live to discuss Superman, Wonder Woman meets Gambit and Rogue, and Amazon Answers. I'm talking about Steve Orlando, and then that's what I got right now. But Robert, where can we find you and what have you got coming out?
You can find me on my channel down below. I've gone PTN as I'm heading up towards 600.
Hell yeah.
Yep. So I got that coming up, and I'm going to try and get back into doing more game streams again.
Heck yeah, I like that. So
Yep.
So hell yeah. And then we will see you guys later. So stay heroic. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane, and Steve Trevor belongs in a hydraulic press. See you later. Bye-bye.